Oh, hello. It is me. Hello. It is it's been a while. Um how long has it been? Um just under 2 months. Last stream was on the 26th of April. Hmm. Why does my hair look slick? What do you mean by that? Slick, as in, that's the slick is the part I'm not understanding. Oh, okay. Ugh, whatever. Um, what was I saying before you rudely interrupted? Um, it's been a while. Been a while. There's a reason for that. It's a very good reason. It's because I needed to stop distracting myself with this. And now I'm allowed to distract myself. So we're going to distract myself again. And that's what we're doing today. We're going to make a timeline because we're really, really cool. I'm going to need some help for this probably because I don't want to be fully in control of how the timeline shapes itself. 'Cause I realized that I could do things in such a way that it would shape the timeline how I want to shape it, and that's fine, I guess. But like, eh, why not everyone contribute? I mean, I don't want to be the one dictating everything. If I have to, I will. But I don't want to. I don't. I want. I think it would be fine. It'd be a fine idea for everyone to contribute. And yes. 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 Okay. So I. Oh, a grand reveal. Um, I promised. I don't know how long ago, and I don't know for how long. I promised a surprise, which I think I then went out and said outright what it was. I don't know. It's been a while, and oh well. Um, I can go ahead and I can go ahead and reveal all if it would be good, if that would be nice. I realize I haven't. So the main issue we might find is that I have not properly tested it with a stream before, so this could go completely wrong, especially with how the chat is formatted. But we'll be fine. Possibly fine. Possibly fine. Okay, okay. So yes, it's time. I think. So this is possibly, unless it just completely fails on me and I stop liking it. I kind of like it. It's I feel it's an improvement at least. Um, you will not be seeing this screen anymore. This screen with the grey background and the chat on the right, and then me just in a box. This is a relic of the past. We'll not be seeing this any longer. This is gone. So we're replacing it, and let's see whether there's. It's kind of blue. I mean, it's. Yeah, I guess it's. What? Let me have a look. Um. It's dark gunmetal. So that's what the colour's called, apparently. Dark gunmetal. Is that the same colour? No idea. Apparently. Well, I feel like it's a bit more blue than that. I don't know. Okay, let's just see how this goes, shall we? I have no idea if this is gonna work. Ta-da! I feel like the chat is on the wrong layer, so let me grab that. Ah, yes, that doesn't look good at all. I'm gonna have to do a quick Well, I will fix it. I will fix it. Um, this is what I made. It's okay. Um, the it could there could be some improvements made. Um, but I'm I think it's a thing. I like it. I like it. I just put a bunch of random characters on that shaped everything so far in the last 29 um, streams and videos, I guess. Yes, some of them are from the videos. Or from the Minecraft ones are from the videos. An issue with that being that the I don't even know if the Minecraft server exists anymore. I'm gonna have to look into that. Um, hopefully it exists. I'll have to I'll have to see if there's a backup somewhere. I will find it. I will find it. I'm pretty sure I had it backed up. I will find it. I think it. I think it just it took itself from the server for inactivity, possibly. But it should exist, and I might look at that later in stream, so that you can hear my disappointment if it doesn't exist. If it doesn't exist, I will be extremely frustrated. Frustrated. I think that's what. Anyway, let me see if I can do a quick fix for the chat. Hopefully I can. Well, I don't know if that's an improvement. um. You see, it talks about background in the settings, but I can't find a background. That it's not producing a background, so I don't. This is for preview purposes only. It will not be shown in your stream. Very helpful. Um. Now that might work. Sorry, I'm getting very distracted. I do apologize. Let's have a look. That changes nothing. Okay. Again, the background color still doesn't apply as a thing that exists, I guess. Okay, we're sticking with black then, I guess. I'm not completely satisfied with that. I will deal with it. I will deal with it. I am sorry. I knew this was going to happen. That doesn't look nice. I will deal with it. I will find a solution. The problem is, I can't really do anything with chat while there is no chat. Although, no, because I can't. Thank you. I'll see if I can do this quickly. I don't know. I don't know. What am I to do? Let me check how this looks. We'll go with that. I think that works okay. That works. That works. We're going with that. That is done. That kind of... it shows up. It shows up. We're working... It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. It's okay. That works. Good. Okay. So, I've also I'm less happy with this, but there's this as well for when we actually stream things. Let me fix my issues. That'll do for now. I will fix this. I will fix this. It's fine. It's fine for now. It's fine for now. Good enough for now. Okay. So this is what I did. I did this like on Sunday, I think. This part I did on Sunday. It's a bit more crudely done than the other one, because this is just an edit of the other one. But it is. I feel like it transitions quite well. Yeah, I think it works. And then well, that compares. Let's just get a comparison, because the previous. This is what it was before. I mean, this is what it is now. I think this is an improvement, at least. I hope. Yeah, it's what it is. It's what it is. And then we've got ourselves here. Again, I've put the chat in the wrong place. Let's move that here. We can keep the chat here for now. This is lore. This is lore. The old lore screen was pretty. There's like this. Hi, you can see all my things. This is the old lore screen. Not much different. I'm a bit bigger. Yeah. Oh, yep. I'm a bit bigger now. Used to say lore down the side there. Now we've got a lovely, lovely Creation of Chaos, the Book of Lore. And I also have the loading screen just kind of slowly going there on chapter 3, because that's all cool. This is chapter 3. It is, yeah, because 1 to 10 is chapter 1, 11 to 20 was chapter 2, so 21 to 30 is chapter 3. Yes, that's right. We're in phase / chapter 3. This is the ending. This is the summary video. The video stream. Yeah, that one. Yep. And I think that's this is so nice. Look a little. And thank you, Chaos. Obviously, that's not to forget what we got from DJ Digby, which is really nice. But I feel that when we look at this, and then we look at this, I know there's a level of functionality lost, but I do know there's a slight issue just there. It's just there, where it's slightly clipping through. You can see my finger going through there. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'd also like to I'd like to make sure I'm right. So what you're currently looking at is, if you think it looks bright now, I'd just like to draw your attention to my original version, which was this. I think this is a bit too much. And I was looking at it and I was thinking, oh, that's just, my eyes are going to bleed. I don't want everyone to have to look at that because it's just distracting. I toned it down a little bit, so we didn't have to keep looking at that bright thing, and I think it blends all together slightly nicer. Whilst it's still a bit colourful and bright, it's a bit better. And yes, maths is no more. Mathematics is concluded, and now nobody in the world has to do it anymore, as decreed by me. So, no more maths. No more. All done. No more. No one has to do any maths anymore. Thank you for that contribution, not curly eye. Right. So, I like the loading screen at the top too. I made it so, where are we? With this kind of, with the actual loading screen, it's going quite fast, it's sliding, well, it's sliding that way, but I felt for the law stream that a fade would be more appropriate. So I don't know if I can manually control this. I've got two versions. There it is. Do you see that? Lovely chaos grave there. No, it's, I'm happy, and I don't want to change this too often. I do have something else to add though, because I felt while I was changing this, I better change my profile picture, and that was a bit of a faff because my old art software had some issues and I had to redraw things, which is fine, because it meant that I could maybe increase the quality slightly, maybe. I'm not sure if it did, but okay, so I don't have a picture to hand of the old one, but here's the new one. Well, at the moment, I've switched to Ibis Paint just because I can transfer between my phone and my PC, but yeah. So, wonderful profile. You got the main Naps motif in the middle, but then you've got new additions. I don't know. I don't know which B that is. Let's see if it was Kevin or Clarissa. Got Hector from Stardew. You got Oat Milky from Barnyard, one of my all-time favorite characters on this channel so far. You got Ikian, I think, from Chrono being put on trial, and which bird is that? I don't. I think I can find that out. I can't find that out. I did not make a note of it. Let me. I can find that out pretty easily. I named my files pretty efficiently. It's Scurvarella. It's Scurvarella. That's Scurvarella in the profile. So that's my new profile picture, I guess. I mean, I like the old one. My issue was that it was a good placeholder before I had more topical things to put in it. All of these are things that we have done on the channel, so it feels more cohesive, I guess. So that's that. Let me just get rid of that. Okay, so we're making a timeline today based on things that happened months ago, with no exceptions. There might be exceptions. We'll see. We're going to start, I think, with the main timeline that I'm considering, which goes with the loop theory. I really like the loop theory, and my thinking in doing a timeline is just we're working with a lot of theoreticals, and it's getting very complicated. Like, this could happen and that, but I think if we try and make the most cohesive timeline based on everything that's happened, we'll just try and use that unless we find something so contradicting of it and we just want a fresh slate and then we can rebuild the entire timeline. I'm really looking at this in terms of like Five Nights at Freddy's style thing where everyone's looking at it, creating a new timeline every 5 seconds when a new piece of information comes to light. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a timeline based on everything we have. We can edit it later when things don't quite align the same way, but we'll do a chapter 3 as we know it now timeline. And if everyone is happy with that, I think that we can get started on that maybe. I have a thing ready to display. Let me. Yeah, here we go. And I hope you don't mind me just leaving the chat there for a little bit. I might put it up. That doesn't quite work. I'll put it a little bit. There you go. That'll do. Okay. So where to begin is the question, really. If we go kind of what we've got. So I've got information here. I'll just put this to the side. And I'll get my phone ready so that I can view the chat if there are any contributions, which I do look forward to seeing. Drink my flavoured water. Now I watch myself on my phone drink flavoured water. Yes, we start with the Big Bang. Which one, though? So we don't know how far the loop goes. We need to make some assumptions here. No, everything is an assumption. Obviously. Uh, so I think probably the I don't know what anyone else is thinking, but a lot of the loop theory has its foundations in Plague Inc. So I think if we go through Plague Inc., which is what I'm planning on playing possibly in the next stream, and I want to kind of conclude the Plague Inc. saga a little bit as soon as possible. Should probably be in the next stream, and I'll probably keep going on the next stream until at least we've got through all of the diseases, and then might hold off a bit just because of how monumental it is to the lore. So yeah, I think we need to divide up our want to divide up our how do you want to approach it? Like a writer or a scientist? Maybe a sentient / aware participant. I think we'll start off with a list. What we might do is write a little summary as I think the participant one sounds quite interesting. Like someone observing it from the inside, or like a historian within, like someone discovering it's someone has discovered everything, and this is them trying to summarize it, and that's what this is. This is the timeline. That could be an interesting way of going about it, but we're gonna have to make at least at the start of a list first. Let's use squares. Right now, we're gonna have to start making some decisions, and I'd like some participation in this because I don't really have a position. Why is the spreadsheet broken? End date. Whoops. Hang on. I need to fix something because this is actually important. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Okay. So it seems so there are, if we're looking at each of the, for starters, look at the loops, that the minimum amount of loops that we've encountered so far. So what I'm doing to determine that is, and here you go. This is just the spreadsheet I have. This has got all of the Plague Inc. information on it because I thought it was really important that we kept a track of this, and it's quite. I've kept it slightly detailed. What we have here is a list of 13 successful genocides of the human race. With the last one being not an 100%, but it does leave the world in a apocalyptic world. There are some. There's quite a few. There's like millions of zombies remaining. So, I would go about saying that for each of these, there's no way humanity could recover. So these are loops, and I'm going to assume in this timeline, I don't think we can at this point make a judgment about why there are loops. We can make some. That there are a few possibilities that we could list, but I don't think we can really say for sure why there are loops. But I think we can make an assumption that there is nothing beyond a loop. There's no way of humanity coming back from any of these, and I think since they're all happening simultaneously, these are all separate loops, and I think that must be true, therefore, of all of them, because all of them start on similar days, and they can't coexist. None of these can coexist with another. When do some of these end? Some of the unsuccessful ones. None of them end. Some of them end in 2024. Are there any unsuccessful ones? So there's one that ends in August 2024 that's unsuccessful and only kills 732 people, which I think was the cannibalism one, where all of those were cannibal victims. From Kazakhstan, by the looks of it. But, so I think what I'm trying to say here is Plague Inc. means that we start off with 17 loops of our reality. That begs the question of which one is a candidate, or whether any of these are candidates for the things that we have seen. Because I'm going with that most of what we've seen takes place in one loop, or is something that has happened in most of the loops. Because we don't know when the loop starts, if you know what I mean. There could be some things which happen before the loop begins. I don't know if I'm making any sense. But what we need to do is we need to establish how many loops we think there are. I'm saying there's probably 17 or 18, depending on whether the one that we think most of the things happen in is the one where everything happens that we've encountered. I think it's fair to say the ones where humanity is wiped out we haven't got far enough to know whether humanity is being completely eradicated while we speak during all of these. But I think it's safe to say that we're in a good loop that isn't killing everyone yet. It's not to say, is Plague Inc. real world or a simulation? Now, in this timeline, I think we're going to assume that this is something that happens and it's a real thing. Later information might disprove that, but I think that's the assumption we're going to make in this timeline. Just to have something to base it on, because I think Plague Inc.'s validity is very much it's a cornerstone of the entire timeline. If we get rid of that, the whole thing collapses. We need something concrete for Plague Inc. in order to base everything else off of. So by using a loop theory for our first timeline, at least, I think that's the best way to go about it. Okay, so right, really the question that I'm trying to pose now is how do we determine an order to the loops? Is there an order to the loops, or does one loop end and then loop back to the beginning, and that's the chronology. That was one, and now there's another, and that was one, and that's two. If that makes any sense. Or do we not need to, because none of them ever happen at the same time? We don't really need to know which one. Because if everything from one loop is destroyed by the time there's another loop, then there's no reason to say that one happened before the other. But what if something happens in one loop, and before it's reset and looped again, what if there is something that's passed over to the next loop? So that would mean that there was a necessity to know which one happens when. But I don't think we have anything like that, so we don't really need to worry about it, I guess. Unless anyone can think of a strategy. Okay, for simplicity, perhaps we will make the assumption that what we are encountering is an 18th loop. So we're going to call it the 18th loop. Not necessarily chronologically, but we're calling it the 18th loop. That's what this timeline is going to be. We're in the 18th loop, which means that whoever's writing this is aware there's a loop. Obviously we're writing it, but if we're saying that there's someone's become aware, which means there is some internal sense that a loop is occurring, and that could mean that there's someone within the loop maintaining the loop, but we'll not get into that. So I'm overcomplicating this a lot. Hi Mags. We just we're doing law. We're cool. With loop theory. Let me move this. I haven't thought this through. Don't mind me. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. That works. As a temporary solution, that's what we're doing. Yes, there's currently 18 loops. That's the assumption that we're making. We're making a timeline based on many assumptions about something that doesn't really matter anyway. That's what we're going with. That's what we're going with today. Is the Book of Law a tangible self-editing book in the loop universe that someone just happens to own? Perhaps. It's very meta. Who knows? Maybe. These are the kind of questions that we will be discussing once we have we can theorize over the author just under the context that it's not actually me writing, because obviously it is. But we can discuss the author, the authorage authorhoods of this book at a later date, maybe. Like next law stream, which is I can already see I'm over the next couple of weeks I'm probably going to be spamming streams out. I will be streaming tomorrow probably. Whether anyone's here or not, I don't know, because I will be here a lot, and from quite early probably till quite late. The plan is not necessarily tomorrow, but soon. Gonna start early, gonna finish when I finish. Undertale stream, beating Undyne. It is just gonna go on for as long as it goes on. I will get this done, because I want Undyne dead. And I haven't tried for a long time, but I've got everything ready. we're gonna do it, and we're gonna kill Undyne. It's gonna be cool. But more on that later. We're gonna write this. We're gonna write this here. 18th loop. So we know. So then, if we're in the 18th loop, none of the viruses or whatever, we're saying that this is a universe where we have yet to see a disease spread. We're also assuming then that all of the diseases either never existed or died down before they got too big in this universe. So we're in the 18th loop. Right. Yes. Well, I can do it. Oreo did it, so it can't be that hard. Ooh, COVID-19. Who knows? Who knows? I think I know where we can start this timeline. If we go back to my civilization days, let me just hold on a second. What was this one? Law, Book of Law, Book of Law. Okay. So if we have a look at what's it called? No, that's not what we want. Incarnation. Okay, so what we have here in our 18th stream when we played Civilization, we had a bit of a origin story of sorts of some kind of nation. The assumption is that the Harald Hardrada-led nation is where perhaps our story lies. So that means that cities such as Naps by the Sea might exist. Chicken City, Chaos. There's a city called Charlie, I believe. All these could be things that happened. This could be the origin story, and I think that's the assumption I'm going to make, is that this is the origin story, and that puts then, that leads us in the direction of trying to work out who these people are that these cities are named after. And it doesn't seem out of the question that these cities are being named after the deities that these people believed in back in the back in these times. Naps by the Sea was created in 3960 BC. Chicken City 1040 AD, Chaos 1270. So we are looking at possibly deities being named after. Now, but the question is, are these just beliefs? Is this what is believed in? And if so, is there a reason why they believe in this? Is it because they've actually interacted with these characters before and they have existed, or they do exist still in some sense? So that's what I think we need to look at. So I think the first thing that we can put on the timeline is that there is this rise of the nation, of which we will not necessarily name because who knows. So let's say True, true. So, early foundations of the of civilization. Formation of Naps by the Sea. Chicken City, Charlie. I'll put Charlie. Chicken City, Chaos. These are all important. So if we're putting that first, if we're saying this is the origin of humanity in this timeline, in this universe, not necessarily, this might be something that happens in all loops. We don't know when the loop begins, but we are saying it's definitely true in this one. That is the first thing we're saying happens. Now, what else happens? At some point, and this isn't necessarily the next thing, but we'll put it next and we can move things along later. We know that, and we're going to assume that the things that happen in with one moment. Hello. Okay. The event in The Sims 4, I'm thinking, with everyone kind of meeting up, we're going to assume that is a thing that happens at some point in this timeline. Now, issue. I've done myself no favours by introducing Nancy and Bernie into The Sims 4. Now, they exist. They haven't met Nigel yet, which means that this is a pre-Planet Zoo thing. Or it's separate entirely and Planet Zoo doesn't happen in this loop. Now, if we want to try and fit everything into this one loop, that could cause issues. There's nothing that necessarily rules out both of them happening at the same time. We know that before Planet Zoo is The Sims, and then Planet Zoo happens afterwards. So, at least in this timeline, I'm going to assume that they both happen. So we have no reason we know they formally meet in Planet Zoo. That doesn't mean they have never met before, but they haven't met before yet. There's nothing that contradicts them both existing. So on the timeline, I'm going to say that we're kind of having the formation of this community. And then we have Nigel receiving a job as part of the Planet Zoo initiative. Yeah, that seems fair enough. So that does that. That's that. Now, where do we go next? Well, there are some things we can add in. For example, all of the events of Red Dead Redemption 2 will fit in that gap between the creation of those cities and the early thing and Red Dead Redemption 2. That is fine. That's fine. That should be fine. And because geographically, Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't if I understand correctly, I'm pretty sure it's quite fiction based still. The states are all weirdly named, and I think it should be fine. We can assume that's a thing that exists. We can assume that. We can assume that in the planet there is this place, and it is America. And yes, I think we're going to struggle. I think we're going to struggle to fit Red Dead Redemption 2 into the timeline, but we have no reason to there's no contradiction. It can exist, at least at the moment. America is canon. America is canon. And then after that is the events of Adios, and it's currently one of the things that I want to do is to establish a character through Red Dead Online, and I look forward to that. And I'm wondering whether we can use that to kind of tie some things together. I was wondering whether we could have an ancestor from one of the Adios characters as the person we play as. That could be really interesting, I think. Whether that would be Bernard or... I want to say Christopher, but I'm not sure. No, Simon Butterfield. I don't know which one I go for, but there's that. Okay, let's have a look at. Let's just go through the list of things and see what we need to establish. Then we can start doing some actual interesting writing, I guess. We'll see how far it can take us. Let's go by game. Let's just look at the streams at the moment. Doing the wrong thing. Right. Okay. Right. We've covered Plague Inc. We've covered Planet Zoo. I'm inclined... I'm not inclined either way to work out whether Stardew Valley happens before or after The Sims. I'm going to just stick it after, on the basis that I don't want to imagine Hector then... I want to imagine that's where Hector's leaving rather than... Because I don't want him to leave the farm, Pigcrest Farm. I think he's happy there. So Hector, Pigcrest Farm. I'm assuming he leaves after The Sims. Then again, I'm not sure. One of the things I was wondering, but there's no evidence for this, and I want to make a cohesive timeline based on what we have as possible, but one thing I was wondering was whether someone trying to prevent the timeline from looping too many more times, The Sims is kind of a response to everything, and you have in previous loops things like the creation of Pigcrest Farm, the Planet Zoo stuff, Red Dead Redemption, lots of stuff. If Red Dead Redemption's in a different loop, then we are just talking that the loop is just reality starting over again. Then we're looking at maybe someone or some figure of some kind bringing together some of the important characters from previous loops into one place in order to maybe collaborate against the loop. Maybe they're not successful that time, maybe it happens a few times where they're all brought together, but maybe that's the reason The Sims is there. That's a thought, but that's not what we're currently looking at. We're looking at this, which means that since the timeline's likely to change so much, I think the notes are going to be from someone within the loops trying to make sense of everything. Maybe they just have all the same information as us and don't know what's real and what's happened in their loop and what they don't know, and this is all them trying to figure it out as well. Which yeah. Okay. We're going to play the new Genshin story. There's a new Genshin story. I haven't, if I'm completely honest, I haven't really touched Genshin Impact since that last video I made. So I did a stream and a video and that's all I've done. My issue at the moment is that my software, which is supposed to count how many hours I'm playing on every game, doesn't recognize Genshin as something that exists. I might try launching Genshin from the Epic Store. Maybe it'll count then, but I don't know. We'll see. It seems like a really petty reason not to play the game, but it has put me off it because then I have to get a timer out, and I know I won't turn the timer off in time, and it'll all be funky. I'd like to play more though. It's really cool. I do like Genshin. Or I liked what I saw. On the matter of on that note, because in the video my PC crashed. I have actually fixed the issue. With my PC crashing. It is fully. It hasn't done it since we fixed it, and I am pretty confident it's never seen this level of improvement. You might laugh. The issue was that my monitor was plugged into the CPU rather than the GPU, which seems silly now that I think about it, but that was the problem, and now it's not, and now it's fixed, and now it's all good. And everything's fine. Everything's really nice and cool. So yeah, that's my troubles over. That means no more streams are going to abruptly end, like the let's see which ones ended. So the lawn mowing simulator one, we had issues with that. At the end of the stream, it broke. I recorded myself as it broke because it didn't stop recording, but the stream ended. The Genshin video broke midway through and I had to splice it together. The Kerbal Space Program one with Oreo broke midway through, but the stream didn't end, but we had to end it so we could relaunch everything. The point is, it was problematic, but now it's all over. It's all good. It's all good. Now, there are some, on the topic of Genshin, there are some Valentino being problematic since, yeah. Valentino's now really nice. Valentino's been nice to me recently, and that's another thing we're gonna have to deal with this timeline is again the deities, whatever, but Kerbal, I'll make a note in terms of things that happened in other loops. I like the idea that the Kerbals are a consequence of escaping the loop. Whether that's because Kerbals in a different loop was how humanity flourished, and humans didn't develop, and instead Kerbals did, and they escaped the loop before it looped. Whether that's what happened, or whether these are humans that turned into Kerbals after leaving the loop, don't know. But if we're then using that logic, that means you can leave the loop. That means the loop doesn't stretch beyond Earth, which means that things that happen, we've got to, so that happened in a previous loop. We're saying that this is the 18th loop. We'll get rid of make this, yeah. So, so things that happen outside the loop are like the quarters SMP, because that's presumably not happening on Earth. I'm going to make that assumption. Making that assumption, it's clearly not the Earth. Is it clearly not the Earth? It might have happened in might have happened in a different loop, I guess. I don't know. What we do know happens elsewhere is Genshin. Well, the events of Kerbal, the program, and Solaris. What else? Oh, we'll have a quick look at Lawnmower Simulator. I'm going to assume that happens before the community, so Lucas formed Wheatgrass, which I think is what we called the company. Don't mind that. Chrono Trigger, I'd say probably happens elsewhere, but could determine how we face time travel. I mean, could we say these happen within the loop? Are these? I mean, Chrono seems to escape the loop, even if it doesn't, because of time travel. You can travel without leaving the loop. I mean, is that place outside of the loop? When you're time traveling with more than 3 people and you get stuck in between times, maybe that's an outside the loop thing. I don't know. I just think Chrono's out loop. That's my thoughts. Fortnite is clearly out of the loop. Yeah, Chrono doesn't seem to be on Earth. I agree. Very yeah. But my thoughts on Chrono Trigger were that there is a world-ending event. Where else do we see world-ending events? We see them in Plague Inc., which we're relating to the loop, and we're saying that's what ends the loop, a genocidal thing. Now, wouldn't that then suggest that Chrono is happening in the same events of... So either we're looking at a really long-term loop where the loop starts at like the creation of the Earth itself, and maybe there is an influence that's changing how things are happening, and so that they're making loops that play out slightly differently to see if they can do things differently, because we don't know why there are loops. We don't know if they're trying to do something. maybe Chrono. Maybe Chrono is another loop. With that being the with that big thing being the final boss thing that kills everyone. That is the loop ending. That's the end of the loop. It doesn't completely work because there are survivors that we see, and the presumption is that we're going to stop that from happening. But I am in two minds about it. That would make that the 19th loop, I guess. Possibly. I do see what you're saying. It is very different, but is it really that different? I mean, clearly it's not the Earth as we know it, but we do not know. We don't know how the loop works. I mean, could there be more than one loop, and this is just another example? Yeah. Time is, yeah. I think I'm gonna say that the events of Chrono Trigger happen in a different loop, and that's what we're going to assume in this timeline. Whereas Stellaris is just so clearly so massive that it can't be within the loop. Fortnite happens in a different loop because Fortnite lore has a loop itself. Kerbal Space Program, we're saying, happens outside of the loop because, again, it's massive, and also we're saying that these people originated from the loop in some way because that's cool. Genshin is our key to understanding maybe how we can connect worlds, and then I'm going to say that the in the same way Chrono could, I'm going to say that the Quartered SMP could be another loop, but clearly it's not in the same one. Okay. Broken Age. My lovely speedrunning adventure. Now, I'm really interested to add some Broken Age lore to the to our timeline because it's not extensive, but it does. I think that it adds an interest. I think it's an interesting thing just to have there. It can't happen in the same loop though as what we currently have. Definitely different. But could it happen in another loop? It's there is still a very human-y feel to it, so very earthy. It's just different. Yeah, well, that's fair enough. I did speed through it as well. I'm gonna put the events of the Broken Age into there because I think maybe I'm assuming that until the last loop though, that all of them end in some kind of disaster. Maybe, which is unfortunate for a lot of these people, like the Chrono Trigger. Well, we don't know what the consequence of Chrono Trigger is going to be because at the moment the world ends and eventually everyone would just die out because there wasn't enough food. But we're going to get involved, and that could be a really important event. Chrono Trigger could cause a us it could cause us to find out maybe why there are loops. Maybe we can possibly use that for that. I got a bit stuck in Chrono. If I remember correctly, I was getting a bit tired, and we'll get back to Chrono. I'm sure we'll get back into it. Barnyards. I don't see. I don't have any problems with adding barnyards to this mix up here, so that Barnyard happens in the same universe as Lucas. Lucas is there. He doesn't realize. He hates everything. He doesn't realize cows can talk. I'm going to. So I'm assuming it happens sometime between Adios and Wheatgrass, because it is an old game. So that's the basis I'm going on. Can't wait to play Barnyard again. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. Yeah, there's no proof cows can't talk. Have you ever tried? Have you ever tried talking to a cow? Have you gone up to a cow and said hi? Maybe it would reply, or maybe it wouldn't, because in Barnyard they don't. So there's no proof. There's no proof. Goat Simulator. Now, if we're accepting these cows, who's to say that the goats don't exist? Although, I'm quite happy to say that it's in a separate continuity, because I think that Dread, the walking microwave man, and possibly who else? We've got Gertrude, I think. Gertrude's the main one who became the devil. Where are we? Yeah, Gertrude. And so Dread's the microwave man. Gertrude is our devil. Deadweight, who I don't know if you noticed. Deadweight is just there. Got Deadweight there. There he is, Deadweight. Deadweight, it doesn't really apply, but Mangled, the ghost, Gertrude and Dread, I think they're all capable of becoming the event which ends the loop. I think that maybe a fight between Dread and Gertrude could just end reality, and that's the assumption I'm going to make. I think Gertrude and Dread are just a bit out there for the current loop that we're looking at, so I'm going to say that things that happen in another loop and we're kind of thinking maybe Gertrude and Dread cause the loop to end. Okay, and we're coming to a close almost with our things. Portal Stories, Mel, Bloons. Yeah. That I think Portal could fit. I don't see why it couldn't. I think with Portal, Mel starts in like the 80s or something, I think, but then it progresses to really far later. So we're probably looking at Portal Stories, Mel, most of it happening in the end of the timeline. Bloons, I think Bloons just happens. Oh wait, I've put this in the wrong place. I think Bloons just happens outside the loop. I can't see how to fit Bloons in. Okay, right. So that's the list of things. That's the list of the games, at least, and where they fit. So now we can kind of play with what we have, write a little bit of a thing. mainly for this chronology. Obviously, the assumption we're making is that, therefore, the person writing this must be after Mel then, which is let's have a look. Yeah, I don't know. But it's 50s to begin with, so Mel's from the 50s. Yeah, very much. So these ones, yeah. Oh, whoopsie. The cities, the formation of the cities, we have specific years for that. Red Dead has specific years. Adios has a specific year. Barnyard doesn't, so we can experiment with that slightly. Let me grab this over here. Okay. So Red Dead 2 happened in 1899. Yeah. True. Okay, so 1899. Yeah, we need to have a look at some of our more interesting characters, aka myself, Oreo, Chaos, Mags, Chicken, etc. And especially if we're looking at quartered SMP being part of a loop, makes sense more. It makes sense more being a part of a loop. But also, it would assume, therefore, that these are in some way related to these deities, and that maybe the deities are some way connected to either maintaining or stopping the loop. They are connected to the loop in some way. They must be connected to the loop in some way. So this is very much speculation, but we're going to put the first thing in the timeline as the emergence of belief in deities known as Naps, Chaos, Valentino, Chicken, Charlie. Those are those are the ones that could also have conflict between those who want the loop and those who wish to end it. Yeah, that is yes. And that could be the context of kind of the civil wariness of Quartered. But it depends. We don't know who creates the loop. We don't know why it exists. One of the things that it could be the loop exists for a reason. It's there because if it's not there, something worse happens. Like, we're committing genocide en masse on the whole planet several times in different loops. Like, disease after disease to wipe everyone out. What if that's because the thing that would happen afterwards is far, 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 far worse? And so we're looping them back by killing them so that they can actually live on, rather than face whatever threat there is that they can't control if they don't have a loop. Alternatively, it's for the pleasure of the deities or someone else, or it's just a natural thing that everyone's trying to stop, and then there might be some people who are like, this isn't too bad, and that would mean the diseases there's just a natural thing where a loop is ended by something. There's natural probability that eventually something ends the loop and it loops back, or there's someone putting things in. There's a lot of things which could be causing the loop. Lots of things which people could want the loop, people could not want the loop. The loop is so difficult to move around. What we're establishing here is that there is a loop. But I mean, there's certain things we can do without. We know, so we're saying there's an emergence of the belief in these gods. The cities are created, the events of Red Dead, the events of Adios, Barnyard. But that would mean that these are deities, and that's why we're being named after. And that would also explain why in other timelines there are things like Valentino A, which kills people off because it's named after a deity, I guess. But there is evidence to suggest that these are real people, as seen in Quartet. Just royalty? Yeah. Like a name passed down, yeah. It's plausible. Yeah. I mean, like, we still talk about, like, all the Greek philosophers, and it does seem feasible that these ancient people would exist in some sense. Although, the reason that I'm thinking of them as deities is, although, or these are just inevitabilities. These are specific people stuck in the loop who eventually turn up before a loop ends. So we always turn up in one way or the other, and it's just a matter of when. Maybe when we show up is a sign of how early in the loop is, and when we arrive at the end of a loop, that means that there's not going to be any more loops. I don't know. That requires us to know what the loop is, I guess. Clearly there are names, the emergence of Naps, Chaos, Valentino, Chicken, and Charlie in history. They existed in some sense, whether they actually were present or whether just they were things believed in. We know that their names were they were very early, prominent names, whether they existed or not. Okay, maybe the condition of a loop's end is for one of them to still be alive. Oh. So the loop, right. Although, the general principle of what we're assuming a loop ends with is that everyone dies. So if one of them lives, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think, as I say, I think we need to know more about how the loop operates in order to actually discuss that. There's a lot of things we can pull together. Hopefully eventually we'll have a more concrete, I do look forward to having a more concrete look on the loop, so that we don't have to keep tiptoeing around it. Okay, so yeah. Well, so far. Right. Okay. So let's make some notes from this character. So this is some random scholar guy. He's well, whoever this person is. They're like, I don't know what's going on. I found out all this information. What does it mean? Let's just put it all out there in this book, and we'll call it the Book of Lore. Ahaha, yes. So, yes. Throughout history, names of the likes of which have been heard many times. Charlie is Naps' companion in one of the loops / worlds. Well, that's certainly true. I mean, Charlie was in the Quartered, and then died immediately, and that's so sad. I mean, I miss Charlie. Charlie was cool. Charlie wasn't even named Charlie until after. It's so sad. Okay. Throughout history, names the likes of which have been heard many times originated with Naps, Charlie, Chaos, and Chicken being examples. Naps by the Sea, and Charlie are both cities believed to be named after a historical figure or a deity believed in the early. Well, if we have a look at this, Charlie was founded in 2240 BC. And Naps by the Sea. Oh, bye bye. Naps by the Sea, 3960. Okay. Whether, well, these names have since cropped up many times, and it is believed that, well, no, let's just leave that. Let's just leave it. Okay. So, we have that. So, throughout history, names the likes of which have been heard many times originated with Naps, Charlie, Chaos, and Chicken being examples. Naps by the Sea, founded in 3960 BC, and Charlie, founded in 2240 BC, both cities believed to be named after historical figure or a deity believed in early days of human civilization. As for why these names are so prominent in all loops, it is unclear. And quite frankly, curious. Aha, right, so we've established. There are these names. There were some cities made in very early days, named after them. Why are these names popping up everywhere? It's interesting. Maybe they're deities, maybe they're historical figures. Perhaps they are individuals doomed to appear within every loop. Who knows? Okay. Let's leave the early foundations of civilization because we kind of discussed that. As for Red Dead Redemption 2, I don't really know as much to say. Barnyard, we can probably say something about barnyards. I don't really know. Is that really? We've established a timeline. I think we've got a basis of something we can work on in future. The Book of Lore is going to expand over time, and I think it's going to be really interesting. But I don't really know if there's anything really more we can do today. We haven't been here for very long. I understand that, but like, what more can we really do? We've put everything together. I don't know. Quartered is online. Oh, it still exists. Good. Good. Excellent, in fact. I'm glad. I'm very glad. Okay. I can't see what else there is to say. I think we've done well. We have a timeline. We can add to it. We can do what we want with it. We can play with it. I do want to start maybe framing some of the things I do, maybe to try and put the timeline in a bit more clarity. I want to set some things in stone, really, is what I want to do. And loops, having some kind of rule for loops would be really, really good. Really good. I think there are a few key things we need to do in order to do that. To determine whether a kind of, I think we're going to struggle to lots of the creative things like The Sims and Civ. We can probably blend together quite well because we can just stick that place in The Sims wherever we want on the map. But with Red Dead, which kind of uses history in combination with fiction, it's a bit more difficult to splice that together. So maybe with Civ, if we continue Civ soon, I do want to try and get that Civ game through. I think maybe if we try and I don't remember if 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 we can't keep it, because I know we were kind of going for like a domination thing. I don't really mind what victory we go for in that game. But if America exists, what I'll end up doing is not going for a domination victory, and just letting America be, becoming friends with America, trying to win despite America, but that way Red Dead can exist in the same universe as we're creating all of this. I think we have a good shot at having something really nice with this timeline, and we can expand it, and we can create several timelines for each loop, written by maybe different people in the different loops. Some might be aware of loops, some might not, so we can have lots of different sources. We can annotate the heck out of it. It'll be really cool, and we'll have this really nice timeline. And I prefer this to the way we've been writing it before, I think, because the way we were writing it before was very, very formal. I realized very early on that I was going to get sick of it, and so this is a lot more creative, I think, and we can add pictures, and we can do all sorts of lovely stuff with it, and I hope everyone else is excited as I am about it. We're gonna end all the fun if the loop influences how you play. I mean, it's a good question. And I've considered it. Yes. Maybe you're right. We'll see. I don't think America spawned anyway in that game, so it doesn't really matter. I'm sure we can find a solution no matter what I do. Yeah, we'll just play games and fit the lore together as we go, and hopefully we will get some concrete thing. I do want some concrete things. That could be really good. Just have something to build upon, but true. But okay. I didn't change the loading screen this time, just because I'm satisfied, and also I forgot. But we can change it next time. It won't be long until the 40th stream. Not long at all. Also, I wanted to, there's gonna be a bit of a, maybe there'll be a week break at some point between the 8th of July, which is in a couple weeks time, and the 16th of July. I won't be doing any streams during that time, but I'll be doing quite a few, maybe 4, 5 a week over the next few weeks mostly. There are lots of things I need to get done this in the next few months, and so maybe not. Maybe I'll leave it a bit, not as many streams, but I enjoy streaming and I like building this lore. There's a lot of interesting things I'm doing at the moment. There's a lot of films I need to watch to catch up on my films that I want to watch. I've got lots recorded on my TV that I need to watch for the sake of watching them and adding them to a big list that I have of all the films I've ever watched. Um, I there are a few TV series I want to watch, but I don't know if I'm gonna get the chance to watch any of those this in the next few months. Maybe. I could just save them until I don't have access to the films though. And I'm hopefully going to be doing. Well, there's a lot of stuff I'm hopefully going to be doing, and I've got plenty of time to talk about it over the next few weeks. And Undertale, I'm hoping to get that. I will have a good time. I've what I've three, I've just like 3 months off doing nothing. It's gonna be great. Gonna be great. But I want to get a lot done because I don't feel good unless I'm being productive. Even if that means being productive in a game, I just need to do something. I can't just lie around doing nothing unless I'm tired and want to sleep and have a nap. But anyway, back to my lovely, lovely, lovely creation. It's I don't know. I'll just do a quick run through in case I need this later. I think I know who all these characters are. Let's go from just before I end the stream, because I won't be doing this for much longer. I'll end the stream very shortly, as we're coming up to about 2 hours. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. Let me see if I can name everyone here. So from left to right. So there we got Hector, and then that's Frog from Chrono Trigger, whose name is Roger. That's Gertrude. There's Valentino. There's Shiva. There's Harold Hardrada there, who we play with as a Civ. There's Charlie, and then there's Stick. There's this is all mirrored. It's difficult. There's Deadweight. It's a bit to Deadweight in the same direction, but after Deadweight is that. I don't know which animal that is. It's a you got Arthur Morgan after that. Then there's Lucas above Arthur. There's another animal next to Lucas. Between Lucas and the animals, you've got Nigel. Just there, and also there is the Genshin character whose name is. Don't remember what Oliver. I called him Oliver. Yeah. Then there's Mangold. Next to Mangold is Ixion. Car. I think that's car. That's either car or truck. You got Otis and Oatmilky on the right there, next to Simon and Carl. Did I call the robot Carl? No. Did I? Greg. Carl. Greg. Was it Greg? Let me search. Eric. It was Eric. Okay. There's Jeb. Jeb. Next to Dread. That's either Kevin or Clarissa. Next to the unnamed horses, and there's Oreo in the corner. I think I named them all there. Wow, except for the obviously the animals that I forget the name of, because I can't really distinguish. I know there's, I think in the corner there, above Lucas, that's probably Peaches. It's either Peaches or Harry. Um, no, Peachy rather. Or Harry. I think it's Harry. I don't know if that the African wild dog has a name. Um, but yeah, yeah, that's that. Um, I hope doing the timeline's been cool. I've, I haven't really been looking forward to doing this. But I think it was quite nice. It was quite interesting. Centipede representation. I do have screenshots of the centipedes. They were very crucial in the fixing of the zoo. We'll get back to the zoo at some point, and try and hopefully keep it profitable. Um, I didn't film any of that, but I'm going off filming everything because I realise it's not sustainable. And always knew it wasn't sustainable, but I didn't really listen to myself too much. I'm trying to listen to myself more rather than just keep going, keep doing more things and trying to listen and be realistic. So I'm not filming everything, and that is why I just played Slime Rancher. I've played Slime Rancher a lot recently. I decided I was going to just keep it as a game I'd not use on stream. I might go on stream and play it at some point, but like, I'm not counting on it. There's a few games I wanted to get my first reactions to on stream, so we're going to be doing those for a little bit, just so I can then play it afterwards. But tomorrow, we'll be playing Plague Inc. probably for a little bit. Don't know when, but it'll be adding more loops. If we're successful, we'll be adding lots of more loops. And then I'll be playing Plague Inc. A bit on my own, doing some achievement hunting. But yeah, I'm happy. So I'm gonna find someone to raid, which is something I haven't had to do for a long time. So let me have a look. I will have a look. I'm not very good at this. uh, okay, I've got someone. We're just going. We're just going with this. Okay, we're raiding a weird judge today. Enjoy. um, it's been real. Bye. I have been Naps, and we are Naps. Yeah. Bye bye.